Welcome back to our Shining the Spotlight series, where we shine our light ever so brightly on the incredible initiatives that are working to drive positive change in STEM. Today, I am joined by the chair of the board of Pink Programming. I'm very excited to dive into this one, and we would love if you could please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Ali. My name is Vida Eivazi, and I'm the chair of the board, as you presented. And I've been engaged in pink programming for many years. These past 4 years, I've been sitting in the board as the chair of the board. But prior to that, I was actually a participant at one of the coding events. Pink Programming is a non-profit organization that aims to increase the women and non-binary developers within the IT industry. We feel like it's our mission to make sure that we can spark curiosity in more women and non-binaries, but also to engage and educate the industry. Because we all know that not all companies have their journey right set up for achieving the DEI that they actually need.
Such an important mission that you're working on at Pink Programming. How would you describe the vision?
Our vision is a world where women and non-binary developers are as common as men. And with that said, it means that everyone would have the same opportunity, not only in the industry, we're talking about the education, entering the markets, and having the same opportunity to do career, and of course, the salaries. And how are we going to reach that, you might wonder? Well, we have a threefold mission. First one is to spark curiosity, and with that means that a lot of women and non-binary, they still have this idea of a stereotypical young male sitting down in the basement with their beer in the hands and, coding away all day long. And we want to break that and want to lower the barrier for women to enter into the world where they can try out programming. When this started 9 years ago, it was pure out of curiosity from friends, where the founders found themselves always in a situation where they were asked, so what are you studying? What is programming? What is coding? How does it work? And what do you mean with different languages? So they took the initiative to actually gather everyone together for a cup of tea one afternoon, one Sunday afternoon, I believe. And then they had this run through, like a crash course intro for programming. And it was all female sitting there being like, oh, I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea what impact it has and what they do, but I do find it interesting now. And the rumors spread after that, and they requested one more of these afternoons. And after that, a lot of other people, like friends to friends, acquaintances, started to show interest. So they decided, these three female developers in Skåne, in Sweden, they decided to rent a cottage out in the Swedish southern forest and have a getaway, and invited everyone to pay their cost for, the self-cost of having the cottage. And they bought a lot of food and had this, meditating, yoga and cooking and coding weekend. And that weekend actually started off an idea of creating an association, a nonprofit association, in order to create a community and give back to the civil society. And from then, Pink has conducted between 20 to 24 Pink Sunday events each year, and between 2 to 3 Pink camps each year. And that is with the effort of all the volunteers. We have paid staff and offices within Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö, and a lot of members and a huge community. Pink is the biggest community for women and non-binary exclusive. And as we speak, I think we have 27,000 women and non-binary in the community. And the mission of sparking that curiosity also comes with giving these women and non-binary also role models, because this is where we're lacking the most. A role model is essentially the most and foremost part of someone identifying themselves and wanting to search and wanting to develop a sense of engagement. And that's why we cooperate with our sponsors. We partner up with a lot of tech companies, not only within Sweden, but also internationally. And we try to create these Sunday coding events where the company actually open the doors. They contribute with a safe space for our women, both cis and trans, I have to say, and the non-binaries, to have a whole afternoon to see a role model, which is a female or non-binary within the company, telling them their journey, showing them how it is possible to make it. And often there are actually people who have changed careers. And we are really grateful for showcasing those women and non-binary journeys as well, because a lot of people think that programming and coding are for the smart and really math elitistic people who have a huge interest and have been coding from the time they were 6 or 7 years old. And we really want to show that that's not the case. The company is excelling in their DEI journey by inspiring our participants, but also they get the chance to showcase their company, which also lower the barrier for women and non-binary to actually see the company as an achievable employer. And the second mission for us is to try to keep the female and the non-binary developers within the industry. Why am I saying that? Because there's actually frightening numbers of women and non-binary developers that do change careers within 7 years. Several surveys and our community stories are proof of the male dominance and the toxic environment that is created, which makes it unbearable to stay. For that, we are creating network events. We are creating safe place for women to meet and not feeling the only woman or non-binary in the team. They can share knowledge, they can embrace each other's ideas and tip each other off. So that's the second one. And the third mission is actually to educate the industry. We're not just partnering up to be sponsored. We are also partnering up to inspire the industry to do it the right way. As we know, it's trending. Everyone wants to be on board on the DEI journey, but how to go about it seems to be a mystery for a lot of companies. What we do, we create workshops for companies and we educate them. The threefolded mission is a way for us to contribute to this IT industry, where recent data have shown from SCB, which stands for Statistical Central Bureau of Sweden, and their occupational register actually shows that between 2014 and 2018, the number of employees within an IT-related occupation increased by 28% across the entire labor market in Sweden. We know technology is increasing in IT, which is an essential part of every company. And where is the gender equality? Well, it did show that the women within the IT-related occupation increased a lot. It increased with 29%. But unfortunately, the proportion of women with an IT-related occupation in the entire labor market only increased marginally. And it was from 22.2% to 22.4%. So as we can see, 0.2% of increase increase women and non-binary developers are scary statistics, and therefore pink programming is indeed needed. We do have a vision, and with that vision comes a goal. And the goal is that associations as pink programming should not even have to exist. It should be a self-sufficient way of companies and industries to work. And I believe that it would be so in the future, but we have a long way to go.
We really do have a long way to go, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving context on the great things that you're doing. Each layer is equally as important as the other. Building curiosity, giving these role models, enhancing education is so needed. And I totally agree. I hope that we can get to that point where this is just a given and we are all equal. We all have equal opportunities. There's a theme here in everything that you're sharing, and it's really around building that safe space. So I'm curious, how does pink programming really work to create this safe space for the community?
The safe space actually was feedback from our participants early on. We did a survey to ask them how they feel, what is the best thing about pink programming. And since we are exclusively for women and non-binary, we did discover that they feel like coming to pink programming, coding events, networking, after works, that make them feel safe. And then we had to make them elaborate on that, of course. We did have a sense of what they mean, but we wanted to have it on paper. And it did show that for them to not being forced to be at the same place where they feel like they might be judged, they might not be able to ask their so-called stupid questions and not to be ridiculed and not to hear the stereotypical things about women. They felt like that's where they feel embraced. That's where they feel that they can actually be themselves and feel that the curiosity can exceed their expectations. And we felt that that is what we are here for. And that was really early on, I believe, right in the beginning of the first camp. People gave that feedback and it stuck with us, and it became one of our mission to make sure that women and non-binaries have a place where they feel safe enough to ask and help each other out, and not being the typical, man guessing and man explaining things for them. And they feel like they get great help from the code mentors that we have, or the teachers that we bring in, and everyone identify as women and non-binary, of course.
That sense of community, again, it's so important, and it's something that you're always looking to uphold, which I absolutely love. I also love that the camp literally started as an idea. You rallied folks together, and you've gone on now to do so many incredible camps in so many different locations with so many different activities. So please, can you tell us more about the camps and what folks can expect?
The camps are a great activity, which is a favorite amongst our volunteers. And we have both our own sponsored camps, but also engage and partner up with the industry to arrange a camp, which usually contains 5 to 2 weeks of coding camp, and the camps can look very different from each other. During this January, our volunteers did manage to create a winter camp where they had activities as skiing, coding, and doing after ski and socializing. And it was sold out within a couple of days. And usually we have one of those during the winter and 2 more during the summer. We call them summer camps. And those are usually combined with, having a cottage in the forest somewhere near a lake, having late nights with, song and dancing, doing yoga in the morning, horseback riding. There are so many activities people come up with. They have ideas of doing a surfing and coding camps in the West Coast in Sweden. So they all look different, and they have this huge sense of commitment from our volunteers, but also a great way for participants to try out a smaller amount of time to code instead of going into several weeks of coding camps. And they always give us the feedback that this was not what they were expecting. It, of course, exceeded their expectations. And they also find out what Pink Spirit is about, which is to have fun, to explore, to not let yourself to limit yourself, because there is no one there limiting you, and also letting your creativity and your ability to look from different perspectives being a way to develop yourself. We feel like that's a great contribution to people who do want to start. But we do also have camps for senior developers who do feel like they want to have a getaway, and they have certain subject in mind. A lot of times it's advanced machine learning or advanced, Python, and then they do manage to find a sponsor, or we try to get it Pink sponsored, and those are also very popular and get sold out right away.
Wow, Vida, I need to get to camp myself. This sounds absolutely amazing. So much fun. And it's great that you cater to different levels as well. And this has got me thinking about folks who are learning about the camp for the first time, maybe, or they've known about the camp for a very long time, and they've been holding themselves back because they are nervous to go to a place where they don't know anybody. They feel like it is really out of the comfort zone. They're really holding themselves back on this. So I want to ask you, Vida, what words of reassurance can you share with folks for them to come out of the comfort zone and to attend a camp?
That's a really great question, and thank you for addressing that, because a lot of times the participant from camps, and they have heard about us some way, and we usually do take a survey on that in the end, and we want to know, how did you hear about Pink? And most of the time it's from social media, but also that they have followed us and they know how our activities are based, and they've heard about it. So the rumors about Pink programming and their camps are quite known. People are keen to come and find out what the community-based and the spirit that we create is all about, what the fuss is all about. So I do believe that the totally new beginners, when they join us, I think that they are equally interested in knowing what the coding is as they are interested in knowing what Pink programming is and what the community is. And a lot of them actually do express that they have maybe anxieties or somewhat of a diagnosis which makes them limit themselves into being social, but they have heard from friends with equal challenges that Pink is open, we are inclusive, and we try to be accessible as well. We do put out in the ads that we are accessible. For instance, if you have any needs of special tools, we can arrange that. But I do believe that people find it rare that an association goes all this way to make everyone feel safe in order to come. And indeed, they do feel safe in the end, and they do engage and they stay in the community, and they become either a member or volunteer. And we have a lot of examples of people who change careers totally, being a nurse or being in service industry or the restaurant industry, And they totally changed that by just coming to one of our camps or coming to a couple of Pink Sundays. And then they decided to educate themselves, 5 years of university education. And then today are working as a full stack developer out in the industry.
I personally know a lot of folks who have volunteered or attended Pink programming and have absolutely fantastic careers today. So I've always been cheering Pink programming over the years. The great success stories that you have coming out of the community is really, really inspiring. It's all about collaboration, support, this environment where you are always encouraged to bring your best self and bring your authentic self, which is really key to making it a safe space, of course. How can someone apply to a camp or to a Pink Sunday?
Usually when we plan a Pink Sunday or a summer camp or winter camp, we do release the tickets and market it in our social media and also release it on our webpage. And the tickets are for free for the participants since we're getting sponsored. And so it's totally free of charge to come to our events. And the only problem is that, of course, when it's the physical meetups, the tickets are limited, depending on which sponsor is actually hosting us. And there could be between 30 to 80 people who we can host. And they usually, of course, get sold out right away. So they are really popular and people can keep looking out on our webpage, but also on our social channels. But mostly if they follow our Facebook community page or Instagram, they will see the releases in real time.
Okay, so this is a great opportunity now for everybody to hit the follow button, hit the notification bell on all things Pink programming to get all of the latest updates on events, opportunities, whatever that fun stuff may be that is coming at Pink programming. Thinking about that, Vida, what is coming up camp-wise? Maybe you can give some of our audience the heads up on that they can prepare to apply to.
Well, we are planning to have 2 summer camps. And the planning is almost in the end. I cannot reveal the sponsors or what the subject is going to be about, but I can say that within a couple of weeks, we will release some information about it. And I would suggest people to try to engage themselves in our social channels if they want to know more about it. And it's good to know that usually the camps are subsidized because we're sponsored, but the camps we do sell them for a small price. And we have student prices and also for those who are unemployed. We try to encourage them as well to be a part of this community. And not to forget, we do sell tickets to companies because we do want to help their employers to develop themselves within the IT sector. They are not programmers, but maybe they do hold a position that soon will be obsolete and they need to learn some programming skills in order to stay in the company. So we do have company tickets as well, and they are always appreciated from the companies when they do send their employees to our camps.
That's really great to know, and such a nice touch that you offer these opportunities to folks who are also unemployed, especially now more than ever with the amount of layoffs that are going on, the amount of folks I hear, unfortunately, who are really struggling to find new opportunities and employment. And attending a camp could really help to just reignite that spark, give the motivation, and just to be a great learning opportunity to feel supported. So I absolutely love that. Volunteering is a big thing for Pink programming too. So for anyone who is interested in supporting the wonderful work that you're doing, how can they get involved and what makes a great volunteer for Pink programming?
Well, everyone's welcome. Pink programming is for everyone who identify themselves as a woman, cis or trans, and non-binary. So I would say that if you feel engaged if you feel like you want to contribute and you want to inspire other women and non-binary, uh, maybe you yourself didn't have that role model, join us. We need every type of volunteer. Right now, we have 2 onboarding every year, one during the fall and one during the spring. And we do need every type of role. We have project leaders, we have code mentors, we have food managers, social managers, planning and executing all of our activities for our volunteers and members. We have a huge amount of engaged volunteers dedicating their time for making sure that everything we do with excellence, but also that we're having fun. We try to conduct a working or create a working space for our volunteers without making them feeling overwhelmed and not being able to continue in their role. And they get a lot of professional help as well. We feel like we are hugely grateful for everything they are doing for us. So all it requires, for those wondering what it takes to be a pink volunteer, if you are engaged in these type of questions and you can commit your time, then just watch out for an ad when we are recruiting volunteers, and I would suggest that you apply.
When you volunteer, you learn so much yourself. It's so enriching, and opportunities will open for you. It might not be straight away. It may actually be 6 months down the line, but something could happen for you because of the time you've given to pink programming. I will also say, in what is a very crowded job market at the moment, having things like volunteering at these initiatives really showcases to organizations that you care. You care about sharing your knowledge, making an impact, and they would think that that would then trickle into you as an employee through coaching, guiding, sharing knowledge and inspiration with team members as well. So highly, highly recommend reaching out. Vida, I know that you are the chair of the board at Pink Programming, but please tell us, how is your role now evolving?
Well, that is right. I've been the chair of the board for 4 years now, and I had the privilege to have amazing board members alongside me, surviving a lot of obstacles this past few years. We've survived the pandemics and also a recession of somewhat here in Sweden. When there are tough times economical wise, the companies tend to prioritize, of course, profits and trade off goodwill and DEI. So for us to have had the, victory of staying alive and continuing doing what we were meant to do, and feeling proud and keep our staff and keep our volunteers and keep extending our community, it has been a total overjoy for us. But I do need to let you know that my journey is coming to an end as the chair of the board, as I am stepping down for this upcoming annual meeting. However, I am going to stay in touch and contribute with my knowledge and my network and my engagement to Bink as a member of the advisory board.
So you'll still be very much attached to Pink Programming, because I know the mission is very close to your heart, and that's great. What change do you want to see in the industry?
We need, in every level of a company, to have women and non-binary engaged, and giving the diversity, having minority groups, sharing different perspectives for us to be able to offer diverse products and services. So that's the dream. That's the ultimate dream, where we don't need to figure it out. Was this aimed for a middle-aged white man, or is this considered for every different aspect of human being?
That is such a great dream to have, and one that I also share with you strongly. It's so important that we enhance diversity across all layers and all levels. Vida, thank you so much for your time. So excited to follow the camps, the Pink Sundays, all of the wonderful things that Pink Programming have coming up. And all of the links are in the description box below. So do check it out.
Well, thank you so much, Ellie. And thank you for the questions and for promoting us. And we do hope that we see other collaborations with Equality in the future.